Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play StarTropics. In the last part, we got onto Chapter 2 after starting the game, and now we're back at the subsea to talk to Navcom. Navcom here, Captain. Input the ID code now. ID code 1776. Aye, aye, Captain. Submergible system now ready. Please press B button when you want to submerge. Basically, if you see darker sections like this with that pattern, you can submerge by pressing the B button. You move automatically, though. And by doing that, we can get over to this dock on the other side of the island. And we could head into that cave, but first we want to head over here to a heart container. Well, big heart, technically. There's a few of these in a couple chapters in the game, and they just increase your life total by 1. But you may have noticed there, I had more hearts than I did at the start of the last chapter. That is because when you clear certain chapters, I think it's like 1, 3, 5, something like that. I don't remember the specifics. You get 2 heart ups automatically. So your life is always going to be continuing, extending no matter what. It's just the fact that in certain points you can find extra health. And there I just got our next sub-weapon, the baseball bat. That's actually a pretty powerful one. What it does is that it causes Mike to swing the bat in an arc that circles most of his body to deal, I think, around 3 damage to anything that it hits. It's really powerful. Sadly, it doesn't get too much use because not only is it very close range, but there's just not enough enemies to consider worth using it in the dungeons you find it. Because the yo-yo is most of what you need for a good amount of the game. It takes some getting used to, though, I will admit to that, because in games like this, I'm used to either having less range or more range, not this specific kind of mid-range weaponry. Mind you, that's partially a personal choice in just the way I play games. Usually, I either go, when I have a choice at least, go for the weapon that's short range but powerful, or long range and weak. But weak, rather. I'm not usually much of a mid-tier kind of damage guy. But that mostly just has to do with my playstyle and being raised playing games like Ocarina of Time versus, say, Metroid. Even though I say long range but weak, but Samus is kind of broken in every game she's in terms of power by the end. And that's the baseball bat. That is much more useful than you'd think. Now, it's here where we see something new. If you look in those lands, that room that's kind of blocked off with the 2 hearts, which is just a heart up, it restores your life. And the baseball bat, you notice those grayer areas around the ground? Those indicate hidden passageways you can walk through just by, well, pressing the respective direction when you're next to them. These can be surprisingly easy to find early on when they first start showing up, of course. But later on in the game, they can be a bit hard to detect. Also, these starfish kind of suck, especially if you're slow and you're 1 tile off when you press the A button. I do like, though, how they kind of incorporate Mike's past as a baseball player into his arsenal, because like 3, 4, maybe 5 of his weapons are related to baseball in some form or manner. Also, it's here we're going to start seeing rooms that are generic kind of kill rooms, but you only had to kill certain enemies. Like that one, I only had to kill the smaller squids. Whereas there are other ones that are similar, but you, like in Zelda, you only had to kill maybe 1 enemy in specific to open the doors. Like so. Usually, it's harder to tell which one of the enemies is which, but if you know the game well enough, you can tell which one it's going to be. Like in particular, I believe it's always that bottom left bat in that previous room. I'll be honest, I entirely forget what was to the right in that room. I think it was just some extra hearts that I don't really need. Or am I thinking of something else? I think I'm thinking of something else. That way is actually progression, if I recall. I'm going over here for some extra stuff. Sorry about that. It's not been too long since I recorded this footage, but I recorded all this footage in 1 day, and towards the end, I was getting tired. Now we're back in that room, so now we can head through here. Ow. Yeah, I'm kind of low on life. That happens in this game quite a bit, especially in the first half or so. But I think I'm prepared. And here we get I think this is the only time this item appears in the game, the Snowman. It's another magical item. What does it do? We'll see during the boss fight of this area, because you might remember, we're actually in this area to save a child dolphin that we were asked to rescue towards the end of the last part. And there he is! Well, that was easy. But up here is our boss fight. I recommend having a decent amount of health for it. as well as, if you can, just have the snowman at the ready. As this squid, there are two ways you can go about the squid, the fast way or the slow way. The fast way involves using the snowman. Every now and then, during this guy's pattern, he shoots mostly these balls at us, but eventually he will charge forward at us. And when he does so, pause the game and use the snowman. This will freeze the water and him allowing you to just spam your attack on him to do mass damage. The slow way is this, only without the snowman. So basically you just get to go back and forth and get very few hits on him at a time. The slow way is also very difficult, so I recommend using the snowmen. They give them they give them to you here for a reason. I am being particularly bad about speaking these past few days. I don't know why. Usually 2 snowmen is enough, but if you're too slow with your button mashing, you might need a 3rd cycle, in which case, have fun. But you always know you kill the boss when it goes into that lightish orange color there. And hey, the Dolphin's out by the sounds of it. Welcome out, Dolphin. Can you stop making that sound now? It's hurting my ears. Thank you. Just gonna leave me here? Okay, I see how it is. But, as you can see, it actually did get out. Thankfully, there's never a time in this game where you have to walk back out of a dungeon. I say thankfully because I know some games would pull that. Alright, let's talk to this little guy. Navcom here, Captain. He is the boy Dolphin. He is thanking us for saving him. Let's signal his mother. We'll never forget your kindness. Now I must help you. Please follow me. Please follow me. Why did you need to say that twice? I guess that was supposed to be the baby? I don't know. And now we're out of that island. We'll never forget your kindness. Good luck. And thus, we're done with Chapter 2. So let's head right on into Chapter 3 as soon as the screen fades to black. Chapter 3, Storm and Calm. Suddenly it gets dark and stormy on the ocean. The sea tosses sub-sea. Damn those tokays! You awaken to find sub-sea was wrecked in the storm. It's always strangely calm after a storm and before it. From now on, we have to walk. And welcome to what is more than likely my least favorite of the main chapters in the game. Not counting, like, endgame areas. We'll find out as we go through why. You look tired. Here, drink this coconut milk. And it's just a health restore that's here for reasons. Go to Miracola and find help for your wrecked ship. I would guess Miracola's a village coming up. In fact, I think this is the only, chapter in the game with multiple towns in it. Like, there's multiple places with people, yeah, but I think this is the only one that has more than one actual town. Off the top of my head, at least. And we have a mini dungeon to go through. This place is fairly self-explanatory. It's mostly here to introduce you to enemies you'll be seeing through a good amount of the chapter. Like these, what look to be baby blue chocobos from 7, are more or less just repaints of the rats from the first chapter. I think they even take more damage, but I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head with that. But first we would like to get that treasure chest to see what's inside of it. Bolos, or bolas, I forget which one it is. I think it's bolas, actually. These are basically the flares, only they go across the entire screen. Which is useful for flying monkeys. Okay then. They really are useful though, but this is one of the only 2 areas in the game where you really get decent use out of them, mostly due to the amount of enemies. Sadly, they do have a stipulation of, I believe, only 2 can be on screen at a time when you throw them. Any more, and the game will just say, no, screw you. Oh yeah, also, one thing I think I've neglected to mention at this point, Mike can't swim. If you jump in the water, it's a death. So don't do that. Thankfully, this game's a bit generous with lives in that lives only count for the dungeon you're in, and since the game saves when you enter and leave any dungeon, you have plenty of checkpoints in the game. In fact, most dungeons, especially later in the game, have a checkpoint or two located within them at certain points, just so you don't go all the way back to the start of some longer ones. Which is generous on their part. Some games will just make you go right back to the start. Though rooms like this suck. Since you don't want to get in the water, you need to be careful about your timing here. That's not too bad, but later versions of it get kind of strict. Oh no, hey, skeleton ostriches, what? These enemies are some of the few in the game that outright track onto where you are, and they can jump over water, something that only a few enemies at this point in the game could do. Best way to go about them at this point is just to throw bolas at their face and hope that you can kill them before they get to you. You could theoretically also just jump one part of the river ahead of them so they can waste their time jumping over to you, but that's not as useful. Now there's two ways we can go in here. Since this is a dark room, we can't see exactly where we're going anyway, but I want to show you what happens if you go left. Note, if you're playing along, don't come in here. Why? It's a trap. At certain in a good amount of dungeons that are like shorter from here on, they're gonna have little trap rooms like that exist just to get you back out into the main part of the area and have you loop back through. It's not fun, especially in some of the longer areas that are more annoying. From now on, basically, just if I tell you not to go a certain way or go my own direction, particularly in a certain dungeon coming up next part, just follow what I say, because some of the dungeons that are longer and have those are really, really annoying and dickish. And now we're in our next town. Hello, shirtless man. Welcome to Miracola. Oh yeah, I guess the guy in the shack did say we had to come here, didn't he? Well, let's talk to the citizens, since as usual, trigger flags. Where'd you come from? Americola? Hi, I'm a brave sailor too. Can I go with you? You almost died at sea. I'm getting seasick. I'd better stay here. I really don't mind these sections every now and then. I was so worried, but Nanette's been asleep for a long time. But on repeated playthroughs, these sections can get tedious, to put it lightly. You're prettier. One thing, though, that I should mention about the text boxes in this game that is kind of weird and similar to another game I played, is that once the text box finishes, you don't have to just press the A button to progress them forward. You can press any button. And that can be good for speedrunning, but bad if you're trying to read it. Oh, and there's also a coconut guy here in case you took a lot of damage in that previous dungeon. Well, you're creepy sitting out here all on your own. You know about the Castle Shakola? Better not go there. Why, though? What's there that will kill me? Build your world game, I ask, as an NES game that doesn't really do that, and or really has the chance to. Oh, you're not gonna talk to me, huh? I think that guy's actually the one you don't need to talk to in this town, but I could be wrong about that. Mostly because, out of habit, I talk to everyone anyway. Oh, so this is a bit of a maze, and you saw me stumbling about there, but that's mostly just because I get visually confused with areas like that sometimes. Not as much in other games, but this one kind of confuses me. Mostly because this game's tiles can kind of blend together easily. You may enter. Why, thank you. I wasn't asking. I'm just hanging out. He's the chief of Miracola. Okay, let's talk to him. You look the exact same as the Coral Cola guy. I'm Chief of Miracola, Mike. I've heard of your courageous adventure. Please, can you help me? 1 year ago, many shooting stars appeared in the sky, and suddenly dreadful lightning flashed. Since that night, my dear Bananette has slept, and she will not awake. Please help my daughter. She is upstairs. Some say a mountain hermit lives who has healing spells. You must find him. Please help my daughter, and I'll fix your wrecked ship. So, wake your daughter up from a nap, and I get free ship repairs. Done deal. And as for what he means by she's upstairs, you may have noticed in the room where I was talking to the chief when I wasn't in the little cutscene with him, there was a stairway above him. I think you could technically head in there first, but I'm not entirely sure about that because I've never tried, honestly. But basically, it's his hidden passage that leads to the upstairs house. Why he has to walk all the way around the town to get to his daughter's room when he really should have that stairway next to his bed at all times, I don't know. Well, not next to his bed, that'd be kind of creepy. Hello there, Bananette. I'm so worried. Bananette has been sick for so long. Yeah, tell me about it, actually. A year of sleep? Even though RPGs like this in Final Fantasy VI tend to ignore that, muscular dystrophy is a thing, and, well, It'd be a lot of pain when you woke up. But with that, we've now talked to everyone in this town, so we can now leave through that guard in the top right and lead into other areas of this island. But with that, I'm going to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 3 of StarTropics, we'll be doing just that. See you guys then. And thanks for the luck wishes, dude.